Let's make sure we're sharing the sound here. All right. Right now, I'm going to go through the model explain. We're going to try to break it down, ask good questions for whoever's watching this. And if you want to learn more, you can reach out to me, Brett Swarts, Brett at capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. Here we go. It's going to load. A little bit slow to load. Slow to load.
Got to upgrade that internet, my friend.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's the my internet's fast. I think it's just the maybe I'll download the video. Oh, download the video. Let's try that. Here we go. Check it out.
Hello, my name is Brent Gove, and I could not be more excited to share with you this new model for real estate called eXp Realty Worldwide. The success of eXp now has become a multi-billion-dollar company, publicly traded on the NASDAQ, and its success is basically being undeniable. Everybody wants to know about eXp, so I get the privilege of sharing with you today all about it. Now, before I do, briefly, I'd give you some background on me. I promise to be brief. I got started in real estate 25 years ago. I was 30, little quick math, you know I'm 55. And my first 12 years was at RE/MAX, wonderful experience, loved that company, a very positive experience. In 2009, I made the change after 12 years to Keller Williams. And of course, it was just, I liked it even more. As nothing wrong with RE/MAX, but my experience of Keller Williams was even better. I didn't think it could get better than RE/MAX, but it did. Keller Williams was amazing. I put 8 years in there. I was a team leader. I ran a large office in California. And then about 4.5 years ago, I get a call from a friend of mine telling me all about eXp Realty, all excited, wanting my opinion. Maybe like you have a friend who said, give me your opinion about this new model that is going to revolutionize the way real estate is done worldwide. By the way, we're in 19 countries with the filming of this particular business briefing on eXp. But I said, tell me all about it. I knew I would not be interested. That I can promise you. And at the end of this business briefing, I'm like, how do I know more? And hopefully that's going to be you. You'll do your due diligence. You'll check it out like I did. So here's the deal. The key to every successful business is that special human being that comes along, like a Bill Gates or a Steve Jobs or a Richard Branson or possibly a Henry Ford. That person who comes along and just lights the world on fire. And that person, of course, is this gentleman, Glenn Sanford. In 2009, he founded eXp, and he had an idea about how to do real estate, as many before have. But his company is now the fastest growing real estate brokerage in the world. It's not a franchise, it's a national and international sensation. So what is eXp all about? Well, the best way to explain that to you is the whole blockbuster Netflix. This is a perfect analogy. You take Netflix, they went to Blockbuster, who, by the way, put Hollywood Video out of business, and they put together all the mom and pop shop videos companies out of business. And you know what they did? They said, look, we can deliver the product better, more efficiently to the consumer at the click of a button. And I remember as a consumer thinking, I don't want to watch a movie on my phone or my laptop. I want it on a giant 80-inch screen TV like this. I thought Netflix was a terrible idea as a consumer. Well, thank heavens that Netflix didn't listen to me, and they tried to sell their idea to Blockbuster. Blockbuster said, we'll pass. We are the 800-pound gorilla in the marketplace. We determine what happens here, and they were completely dominant with thousands and thousands of locations worldwide. So they made the biggest mistake of their life, and they kind of poo-pooed, put down, said it'll never work. And of course, we all know the end of the story. Within 5 to 6 years, Blockbuster was filing for bankruptcy. And then, of course, Amazon. Look what Amazon did to retail worldwide. I mean, the largest company in the world. eXp is now doing this in the real estate world, and it's for the better. It's for you. It's totally for you. And so even this Tony Robbins noticed, Hilton, he noticed that the cloud-based model is a superior model. Look at Hilton Corporation, been around for 100 years. And then Airbnb, guy has an idea, kind of like Glenn Sanford. He starts Airbnb 10 years ago, and the company was valued at $31 billion. Now this picture is a couple years old. Last time I looked, Airbnb was valued over $100 billion. Pretty amazing. Well, Hilton, they own real estate, very much bricks and mortar, very much a, not a cloud-based company. Their valuation's gone up to, last time I looked, about $25 billion. But look at that, 10 years versus 100 years. The growth is in the cloud-based sector. Look at Uber, look at DoorDash, look at Zoom. Look, again, we talked about Amazon and Netflix and Travelocity, the travel industry, digital downloads, iTunes. You get the idea, Pandora. Life as we all know it is changing. And so, what is this cloud campus environment? Well, basically there are no desk fees, and I paid desk fees for 20 years at the big brokerages. It cuts the overhead of a traditional type of office. We put our money, eXp, into lead generation and technology to support the agent to make a difference. So, I want to cover this. Everybody thinks if I go to eXp, I'm going to be working from the cloud. No, eXp works from the cloud. They have over 1,000 employees worldwide that live in the cloud, work in the cloud. You will work out of an office. We have a Regus Alliance, and there are 3,000 Reguses and spaces worldwide. I mean, Chicago, Paris, New York, San Diego, San Francisco to Miami, South Africa, Europe, everywhere you go. In Sacramento, where I'm from, there are 8 Regus locations. So I didn't lose 5 Keller Williams offices. I gained 3 different additional locations, and they're typically nicer, beautifully decorated, fully staffed conference rooms. It's amazing. So you will not be working from home. You will have office space, and everyone gets a Regus membership at no cost to you to go into a Regus and work in their cafes and their places of business. Wi-Fi, coffee, the whole.
Little pause here. We got Brett and Dan. We're going to be watching this model explained, going through the differences with eXp versus the older brokerages and the opportunity. See if it's going to work here with our streaming 553. Just keep playing again.
Now, what else do we have? Well, we have 4 main pillars at eXp. Number 1, leads. That's pillar number 1. Number 2, training, world-class training. Number 3, stock. This is agent-owned, broker-owned. We own this together. That's a big deal. And finally, number 4, because you're an owner, you get to share in the revenues. I knew in my 12 years at RE/MAX, I did not share in the revenues of RE/MAX International, or my 8 years at Keller Williams, I did not share in the revenue of Keller Williams International. And if you're at Coldwell Banker or Sotheby's, you know what I mean? So here's a chance to own the company you work at.
Any chance you can download it in advance so that
with
it's
the founder and sharing the revenues. But let's get down to the first pillar, leads, because that's really what agents want. eXp has formed a joint venture, a partnership with KV Core. You can Google them, YouTube them, watch some videos on what KV Core is, but it's a CRM, a contact retention management for clients, and it produces leads when you learn how to use it. Like a farmer, like someone with an orchard, you want to grow your real estate business. If you're commercial or residential, you want to grow and prosper. And so this CRM through KV Core is incredible and helping agents dramatically with additional buyer and seller leads in residential and commercial. And so beyond leads, what do agents need? They need training. They need world-class training, and the same great trainers that were at RE/MAX.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Dan. Let me see if I can download this thing separately. That's really weird.
That's great video. It'd be great. We just watch it straight through.
Yeah, so it's 7:43. Let me see what happens here too. If I do it on this. Let's see, chance of getting better luck on this one. And then we can also go straight to YouTube. I don't know if it's going to download for sure though. They did say download it here. Oh, here it goes. All right, give that 20 seconds.
How many times have you watched this, Brett?
I think this will be like my 10th at least. So I learned something new every time, which is pretty cool.
You still have any outstanding questions, or you kind of every time you watched it address a couple, get some more information, so that at this point you're like, okay, I'm tracking with everything.
Exactly. It just becomes better and better and better. Honestly, it just as you digest it more and get the model. All right, let me see if this is gonna work. Let's see. Can you see the screen right now, Dan? Can you hear it?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I think we're at 7 minutes. Let's see.
Maybe you're a Berkshire Hathaway person.
I think we're right. We're like 7. Right
at
there.
eXp. The same.
We're at the
it's the same or
CRM
better.
and
We're
lead
so
generation.
excited. In my opinion, it's even more powerful. So we have world-class training. We have 10 to 15 classes a day in the cloud, 10 to 15 live classes a day. You can raise your hand, ask questions. I've spoken to thousands of people on the eXp Cloud campus at one time. And these happen all. There's commercial real estate, there's luxury real estate, there's residential real estate, how to build a $100 million sales team, dominate your market with social media, business planning for 2022 or 2023. There's so many great topics on how to learn how to sharpen your axe, how to become more powerful in real estate for your families. And so we have that. We also have live training. We have, this is in Sacramento, California. We've rented some of the largest halls. This is a wedding venue. We packed out with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of agents and broker associates, and we're training on lead generation. So this is pretty cool. The third pillar is what? It's called equity. Something I didn't have. You know what I had after 12 years at RE/MAX? And I'm grateful for RE/MAX. I had trophies and plaques. Trophies, plaques, recognition, right? Can you relate? I don't know what brokerage you're at. Hey, you're number 7 in the region. You're number 3 in the office. Oops, you moved up to number 2 in the office. And now you're number 1, and we're trying to, sell more, do more, be recognized. But what are those trophies? What are those plaques? What is that worth when it's all done and said? You know what I had to show after 12 years at RE/MAX? Nothing. I moved companies. I closed out whatever I had in escrow, which, by the way, were 37 listings in active escrows. Closed them out. Moved to Keller Williams, and that was it. It was like pulling your finger out of a glass of water. Water just goes back across. It was like I was never at RE/MAX. I had nothing to sell. And that's what it is like for 99% of all agents. I go to Keller Williams, same thing, 8 years, won awards, this, that, won trophies and plaques and recognition. When I left, they have a program called profit sharing. And so I had a little bit of profit. I think I was averaging $700 a month, in all fairness to Keller Williams, after 8 years. But we can all agree that $700 a month isn't gonna change your life. And I had enrolled 55 agents for Keller Williams because I was a very happy Keller Williams agent. I'm very grateful for Keller Williams, an amazing company. And I literally sponsored 55 agents and said, come to Keller Williams and prosper and grow. And that was generating me $700 a month. And at one point, we were the #1 office in profit nationwide, Roseville, California. But it was making $700 a month after 8 years, just kind of weekend fun money. So that wasn't gonna change my life. But this whole equity piece, wow. Let me explain how it works. There are 5 ways to develop equity or stock in eXp, equity, to become an owner. A rising tide rises all ships. Not just when I was at RE/MAX, I watched Dave Liniger become a billionaire. When I was at Keller Williams, I watched Gary Keller become a billionaire. Maybe you're at Coldwell Banker and you watched them sell that to Realogy, a $1 billion hedge fund. Maybe you're a Berkshire Hathaway person and you got bought up, and who owns that? A billionaire called Warren Buffett. Stop working for billionaires. You're as good as your last sale. How many you got in escrow right now? 3? You got 7? Oh no, you have 19. I get it. No, you have 49. I had 55. I had 55 in escrow at one point. Ask me what I get paid today for that. Nothing. I can answer that. Nothing. Whatever you sold 3 years ago, 7 years ago, 15 years ago, you don't get paid today. But if you can own a piece of the brokerage you work at, a significant piece, a brokerage that's going into multi-billion dollar valuations, which we are. Look us up. We're publicly traded on the NASDAQ. Last time I looked, over $6 billion, and I get to be a part of that. That's pretty exciting. So here's how it works. When you close your first transaction at eXp, you get awarded stock. You become what's called a shareholder. You get to share in the equity of eXp with the founder, Glenn Sanford. That's pretty cool. Number two, when you cap, we have a $16,000 cap and an 80-20 split. And then when you cap, you go to a 100% split. Most of our agents who are productive cap in the first month or 2 or 3, which means they're at a 100% split for the next 10, 8, 9, 10, 11 months. We cap in the first month every year. And we're at 100% for 11 months. And the most eXp gets is $16,000. It's like that for everyone. Now, it's not the lowest cap in the marketplace, but it's certainly not the most expensive cap. It's competitively priced. You get a lot of value for your $16,000. Next is when you sponsor people, when you tell people and this happens at all companies, if I were to go to Century 21, people can see, why are you at Century 21? I'm like, oh my gosh, because of this, this, and this. I go, you know what? Maybe I could use a change. Do you think your manager would talk to me at Century 21? Sure. Why do I know this? Because this happened to all of us. You could work for Compass. You could work at Sotheby's. You could work at Coldwell Banker. I'm second generation and my kids are third generation. My folks put 55 years into real estate. The last 25 years at Coldwell Banker. And guess what? Marge Anderson referred them to Coldwell Banker in 1983. Ask me what Marge Anderson got paid for 25 years. I'll answer. Nothing. Zero. My friend, Mike Pushek, my neighbor, went to RE/MAX back in 1999. And within 4 years, he was selling 330 homes a year. Pretty awesome. RE/MAX was so excited. They're like, Brent, thank you for referring Mike. He's amazing. Guess what? Ask me what I got paid. Nothing. RE/MAX got paid 330 times a year. Now I realize that's a good story, but how many of you referred a friend to your brokerage and they sell 20, 30, 40 homes a year, much more normal? That means your broker got paid 20, 30, 40 times a year. What did you get paid? Nothing. Stop trading the cow for magic beans. The referral of the agent or broker associate into commercial eXp or residential eXp is invaluable. How would you like to get paid almost every single time they sell a house for the rest of your life? That is what eXp is about. That's why people are so excited. So you're going to, every time you sponsor someone, you enroll someone for eXp, you tell them about it and they join, they say, yeah, I'm here because of Brent, I'm here because of Rob, I'm here because of Cindy or Tom or Karen. You become what's called their sponsor. And when they close their first sale, you get a stock award. My first year, I won 51 stock awards. The previous 20 years, 0. I won trophies and plaques and recognition, but that is not worth a lot. Next, we have our Icon Agent Award. And what that is when you basically cap, you cap at 16,000 paid and you do 20 additional sales. For most agents in the country, it means you sell 28 to 30 homes a year. For most agents. Depends upon your market, the price of homes, but most agents means you sell 28 or 30 homes a year. And what happens there is you win a $16,000 stock award. So if you pay in $16,000 and you receive a $16,000 stock award, what did it really cost you to be at eXp? I mean, think about that. So our first year, we went to eXp. I capped in a month, because we sell a lot. And then guess what? We did 20 additional sales. And a few months later, we got a $16,000 stock award. And someone said, but you don't know what that'll be worth in 3 years because there's 3-year vesting on those stock awards. I go, you're right. But I know what the trophies and plaques were worth after 20 years. Nothing. I'll take my chance with this penny stock. Well, during that time, we went on the NASDAQ. We became a publicly traded company on the NASDAQ, and the stock exploded. And that stock award became worth, not only was it worth 16 3 years later when I finally invested and I could sell it, it was worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Pretty cool. Finally, we have our agent equity program. And what the agent equity program is, you can enroll, it's optional, but you can take 5% of every closing and purchase eXp stock at a 10% discount. Go talk to a financial planner. They go, give me your money, and if you want to, medium risk, it should be about a 10% return at the end of your first year. How'd you like to get 10% day one? That is our agent equity program. It's optional. You don't have to do it. I don't know anyone who's not taken part of that. Then we've just seen this. Look at the history of our stock. It's just incredible. It's one of those unicorn moments in the world. It's like that Facebook, that Amazon, that Google moment, and it's in your industry. You're a commercial real estate agent. You're a residential broker or residential agent. This is in your field. This is for you. And so finally, we have revenue share. Now, what revenue share is, it's what got me excited. The truth, everything I've told you, I wasn't excited about. Everything I just told you, I went, okay, yeah, that seems nice. But I wasn't fired up. I wasn't like, it didn't ring my bell. This blew my mind. Literally, I couldn't even sleep. So let me explain to you what revenue share is all about. We have a 7-tier system that our founder, Glenn Sanford, copied from Keller Williams. Keller Williams, the largest real estate company in the world, they have a 7-tier system that they do profit sharing through. And if the office is profitable, you can get some profit share. Well, I had referred 55 people who they told people, and they told people for 7 tiers. I had hundreds in what's called my profit sharing tree, and it was paying me $700 a month. Okay, something almost made my car payment. I was like, cool, this is great. When I referred over 100 people to RE/MAX in my 12 years, because if you're going to do well in real estate, your family, friends, and relatives want to get into real estate, and they go, can I work at RE/MAX? I'm like, sure. I sent 100 people to RE/MAX in my 12 years, easily. I got 3 $10 Starbucks cards. 3! If you're going to do well at Sotheby's or Compass or Realty One or HomeSmart, wherever you are, your family and friends will join, and you will probably get paid not much of anything forever. Again, stop trading the cow for magic beans. You know what's worth so much more than $1 million listing? It's an agent that produces millions of dollars in sales every single year, and you give it away for free. Like, here you go. Take my friend Tommy. He only sells 18 homes a year. What's he doing in sales? Oh, he's doing about 5-6 million a year in volume. And then whatever brokerage you sent Tommy to, they get paid on $5 to $6 million worth of volume year after year after year after year, and you get paid a big thank you from the sales manager. Man, we love Tommy. I'll bet you love Tommy. I'll bet you love him. And so here's a chance to be compensated from that. eXp believes you should be compensated. So here's how it works. These middle column here is worth, it adds up to the $16,000 cap. Our founder, Glenn Sanford, said, I'm going to carve off the first $2,800 if you refer an agent and they cap, which in most markets means you sell 7, 8 homes a year. That's it. The national average agent sells like 6. So it's a little bit over the national average to cap typically. You'll receive $2,800. What happens if they only do half a cap? Well, then you get half of the $2,800, you get $1,400. What if they only sell 1 or 2 homes, like a quarter cap? Then you get a quarter of this, $700. So they sell a home, you get paid revenue share the next month. Every month on the 22nd, you get paid revenue share. Month after month after month, as that agent is at eXp. I referred agents 4.5 years ago. Most of them, 90% of them are all still here. And I still get paid, not from the agents. When I had the team, I got paid from my agents, 50, 40, 30%, but I get paid from eXp, from their 20%. We have an 80, 20%. They share back to me how much? Up to $2,800 per agent. Let me give you a simple example. Someone asked me, he said, well, what if I told 10 agents about this? Well, and they all capped? Yeah, they all sold 7 or 8 homes. I mean, these aren't even highly producing it. They're not even making a living. If you did that, you get 10 times $2,800, which is $28,000. Well, that's not that much money. If I live in the New York or Manhattan or San Francisco, I can earn $28,000 and sell a house. Yep, but can you do this? If those agents stay next year, eXp pays you again. So you mean I get $28,000 the first year and $28,000 the second year? Yes. So now you've received $56,000 for referring 10 agents. What if they sell the third year? You get it again. The fourth year, you get it again. So when do I stop getting it? Never. It's written into our charter. If they stay 10 years, you would get $28,000 a year for 10 years, which is $280,000 for referring 10 capping agents. Again, in most markets, it's 7 to 8 sales. The average home price is around $400,000, and so it's, maybe 7 to 8 sales. I know in the Bay Area, it's 1 or 2 sales in certain places where the homes, San Diego and different places, it could be 2, 3 sales to cap. Now, let's keep going. So let's show you how this works. Let me show you a 5-year example of how this works. Now, keep in mind, every agent you tell 5 or 10 agents, they will begin to tell agents. You can't stop them from telling agents. This is how Coldwell Banker became Coldwell Banker. This is how Century 21 became Century 21, and Keller Williams and Sotheby's and Compass. If you like your brokerage and people are going to say, how do you like it? I like Compass, it's great. And they join Compass, how are you compensated? See, at eXp, we have what's called compensation for contribution. If you compensate to the growth of this company, you are going to be, if you contribute to the growth of the company, you're going to be compensated. So here's how it works. Everyone you tell is your tier 1. Everyone they tell is your tier 2. Everyone they tell is your tier 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Keller Williams created this 25 years ago. They've been doing profit sharing for 25 years, except their offices lately, I mean, you know, if you worked there, you know what it was. I told you what mine was. So watch this. Let me give you an example. If you tell 5 or more agents, it unlocks tier 2. If you tell 10 or more agents, it unlocks tier 3. 15, 20, 25, it grows in increments of 5. And then when you get to 40, it unlocks the 7th tier. So let me show you what happens when you just get paid on 2 tiers. So it's a 5-year example. You may do this in 3 years. You may do it in 10 years. It's just an example. I did it in 6 months. Again, this is an example. What I'm going to show you, I personally did in 6 months. Let's say it takes you 5 years. Let's say you tell 2 agents a year for the next 5 years. How many of you personally told? 10. You're now receiving $2,800 per agent. Tell agents who sell at least 7 or 8 homes a year that they're capping agents. You'll get the full $2,800. I didn't even talk to agents unless they sold 10 homes or more a year. So I made sure that I was getting paid $2,800 on every one. 10 times $2,800, there's the $28,000. Remember I said if they stayed for 10 years, that'd be $280,000? What I didn't tell you is they will tell other agents. Let's say the 10 that you sponsor here, that they tell 10. And if they all tell 10, and by the way, I told 10 in my first 2 or 3 weeks, and they all told 10 in 6 months. So it doesn't have to take 5 years. But let's say in your case, these 10 agents each tell 2 agents a year. 5 years later, how much will they have told? 10. It's a pretty dialed back conservative analogy. Well, guess what? 10 agents times 10 is 100 agents. Every agent on your tier 2 is worth $3,200. $3,200. So if you have 100 there, that's $320,000 plus your 28, that's $348,000 a year. So I was 51 years old. I owned real estate. I have stocks. I have different investments. I had nothing giving me $348,000 a year cash flow to retire. What is your 401k? When can you just take a breath and not work so hard? I haven't had to sell real estate in 3 years. I've been able to retire because of this model. So guess what? I'm showing you how to make $348,000 a year. By the way, I ended up telling over 40 my first year. So I was able to do this, and if you take 4 times this amount, it's $1,390,000. It's almost $1.4 million a year. And my second year I earned $1.2 million. So I told 40, not limited. You could do as many as you want. As a Keller Williams team leader, I recruited 177 in 1 year, not 10. But that's you, Brett. You seem to be able to talk on camera. You seem to be able to present this. What if I help you? What if you hit press play? Well, this is a recording. I shared a video very much like this by a gentleman named Rob Flick. And I would press play and watch because I wasn't able to present it yet. And I shared it with 8 of my friends as a beta test. This is what I call a Save Me beta test. And I recommend you do the same thing. 8 of my best friends, all of them sold their franchises, quit their jobs as general managers for RE/MAX franchises and general managers for Berkshire Hathaway, sold franchises, which shall remain nameless, but they sold them, big franchises you would know. Top producers, 8 for 8, all came to eXp. Do a beta test, show this to people. 2 additional points about eXp that it's amazing is number 1, about a year and a half ago, Glenn passed the 50-50 initiative. And what the 50-50 initiative is, he guaranteed that half of all the revenues of eXp would go back to the agents in the form of revenue share. So at $2 billion, $1 billion goes to a company, $1 billion to the agents in the form of cash spendable money revenue share. When we hit 10 billion, and we will hit 10 billion, 5 billion to the company, 5 billion to you, to myself, to the commercial and residential agents and brokers. It's going to be amazing. That is the 50-50 initiative. Very powerful. We're super excited about that. Now, one more thing regarding the $16,000 caps. I had buying agents that worked for me, showing agents. I also had some listing specialists that worked for me that took the listings that I couldn't handle, that were far away, or maybe I just didn't want to deal with. So if those of you out there that are watching this, or you're a brokerage and you have a team, it's half a cap. So your agents, all of my agents get to come over on an $8,000 cap. And they all cap in the first month or 2, but now they get health care through eXp. You got to pay for it, but it's a huge reduction. You get stock awards, you get revenue share, you get all the benefits, 10 to 15 live classes a day, and your agents are only paying $8,000 a year. Now, if you have a large brokerage team and of over 10, maybe you have 20, maybe you have 40. I just brought on 200 agents and brokers this past week myself, over 200 in 1 week. We see this all the time now. 1,000 in Poland, 800 in Nigeria, international growth. We're about to open those countries. We're looking at opening those countries. They get to come, if you're a large team, at $4,000 an agent, a quarter cap. So if you have a team of 25 agents, they pay $4,000. They'll pay it 80-20 split on a deal or 2. They're capped. and they get all the benefits. They're not treated less than, like they don't get stock, they don't get revenue share. They get stock, they get revenue share, they get all the benefits you and I get. But it makes it affordable for a large brokerage like yourself or a large team like yourself to come to eXp, and it makes it all work. And so who do you talk to? Anyone in the world. Anyone. Today, I have agents in all 50 states, every province of Canada that we're in, and 19 countries. Do you know that you know people who live in Israel? You know people who live in Portugal and Germany and Brazil and Colombia and Panama and Australia? I have agents all over the world. You could have the same thing. What's the potential growth for eXp? Well, I believe in the next 8 years, we'll open an additional 80 countries. We're in 19, 81 countries will bring us into 100 countries. Worldwide, they say there's 208 industrial nations, I believe is the number, and approximately 25 million agents and brokers worldwide. Nobody has the exact numbers, but if you dig around, you kind of come up on this 25 million. India, for example, has 2 million agents alone. The US and Canada have 2 million licensed agents and broker associates, commercial and residential alone. So in 208 countries, there are about 25 million. I believe that in the next 8 years, we're going to have 1 million agents in 100 countries. Right now, there are 66,000 of us. To put that in perspective, I don't think you get this. Remax, which is an incredible company, it took them 20 years to get to 20,000. Keller Williams, which is an amazing company, it took them 19 years to get to 20,000. eXp just went from 1,200 to 66,000 in 4 years. I'm telling you, eXp is going to change real estate as we know it worldwide, just like Uber changed the taxi cab business, and Airbnb is changing the way people find a place to sleep at night, and DoorDash is changing the way people get food, and Pandora and iTunes is changing the way people get their music, and Travelocity and Trivago is changing the way people get their airline tickets and their travel. The world is changing. It's going digital. Don't be stuck in a vinyl record cassette tape world. You need to change with it. You've got to change with it. When Henry Ford invited the Model T, there were I think 600,000 horse and buggy drivers, and they were upset about the technology of that Model T, and it would backfire and scare the horses. But you know what? The automobile changed the world. Do not be afraid of technology. Embrace it. It is a good thing. So here's a summary of what eXp is all about. We have no desk fees, no royalty fees, and no franchise fees because guess what? We're not a franchise. I worked for 2 of the biggest franchises in the world my first 2 decades. Decade after decade, I paid desk fees. Decade after decade, royalty fees and franchise fees. No more. eXp is a national and international real estate company. We just have a simple 80-20 split. Now, some of you are going to, I'm on an 80-20 split. I have 80-20 right now. Who do you work for? Berkshire Hathaway? Sotheby's? Century 21? Which franchise is it? Coldwell Banker? Oh, you name whatever one it is. Okay. What about that franchise fee of 6%? It's the same thing. Even right now, you're going, oh yeah. So really, you're on an 80-20 with the office, but a 6% typically will get paid out to the franchise. You're really on a 74-26. 26% of every check you get goes back to the big brand. You don't need the brand. You think you need the brand, you don't need it. At eXp, I broke all my sales records here, and it's an 80-20 split, no 6 or 6.9 or 6.7% franchise fee, just an 80-20. You're going to make more on every sale for your family. This is about your family. The cap is 16. Once that's paid in, you go to 100% split right here. What are the startup costs? What are the standard fees? Well, it's a $149 startup fee one time. I paid that 4.5 years ago. $85 a month is our cloud brokerage fee. You get a Regis membership, you get a SkySlope, you get Breakthrough Broker, you get a database system called KV Core, a database and lead generation website. You get email, you get access to the cloud, the 10 to 15 live classes a day. Do the math on that. That's 40 to 60 classes a week. And then E&O, it's $40 per sale for your E&O. For commercial, it's a little bit more. I think it's $250 a commercial transaction. But for residential, it's $40 and capped at $500 a year. These are the fees. So as we close today, let me ask you a question. Where are you going to be in 5 years? What are you going to be doing? Commercial real estate, residential real estate, luxury real estate? You're going to be selling 40 homes a year, 80 homes a year? I know for myself, I was 51 years old. I knew that in 5 years I'd be 56 and I'd just be out there going on more listing appointments, going on more, working with my team. And it was great, but I didn't have an option. I didn't have an exit strategy. And without a dream, you can't have a dream come true. Without a plan, then you plan to fail. Nothing's gonna change. You've been doing this for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Enough is enough. I wanna challenge you. Do your homework on eXp. Watch this webinar again. Someone's watching this with you right now. Go to your best friend, your best buddy in real estate, and watch this with them and get their opinion. I did that 8 times, and 2 of them were franchise owners. They sold their franchises. 2 of them ran big brokerages for, one was a general manager for RE/MAX, another one a general manager for Berkshire Hathaway. They quit their jobs. Every single one of them, big stars in real estate, they all 8 for 8 came to eXp. Show this to them. Say, I need you to save me from making a mistake. Do a save me beta test. I wish I'd done it 18 times. But go do that. And then once you decide I'm ready, go to join.exprealty.com and apply. Apply. Go through the application. What's the application? It looks like this when you get there. Right here, some basic information. Within a day or 2 after getting checked out, eXp is going to send you an approval letter. What they won't do is they're not going to move your license. You have to move your license. They're also not going to contact your broker. They are not going to contact your broker. It's very private between you and eXp. But make sure you do this, because when you're ready to join eXp, it usually goes like this. Okay, I'm ready. I'm listing 2 homes. I have a buyer. I'm writing an offer today. What happens is it takes 2 or 3 days to go through this process. And what happens is those listings get stuck at your old brokerage. That buyer gets stuck at your old brokerage. That could have been half your cap. So instead of being at 8, it's like your cap turned into a $24,000 cap from 16. So make sure you get this out of the way, prepare for success, and then finally, look at this. Our company is going global. We went on the NASDAQ. We became a publicly traded company. We joined Cisco. We joined Intel. We joined PepsiCo and Apple and all these massive, unbelievable companies on the NASDAQ. And we turned into a multi-billion-dollar company. That's your company. It's not Gary Keller's company or Warren Buffett's company or Realogy that owns Coldwell Banker, Sotheby's, Century 21, Better Homes, and 24 other brands. This is your company. You get a piece of it. You're going to build equity like a homeowner who buys a home or someone who buys a building, and you develop equity. It's what we tell our clients. Why are you not doing this? So I cannot wait to meet you someday. And this was a very exciting day for us 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago, when we hit the closing button on the NASDAQ. We shut down the financial markets worldwide. It's an honor. They gave Glenn Stanford, America's newest billionaire. But guess what? While Glenn became a billionaire, many of us became millionaires. That had never happened before. So I challenge you, check out eXp. Once we pass the test, join us. We'd love to have you with us. I cannot wait to meet you. Get back with the person who had you watch this and say, tell me more about eXp. Do your homework. Do not miss this opportunity. This is a life-changing, world-changing, seismic shift in the way real estate's being done worldwide. Join us. There's 900,000 agents coming worldwide. Your timing couldn't be better. We got rid of the potholes. We got rid of the gravel roads. We've paved them. We just paved the on-ramp to the freeway. Enter you. Congratulations on your timing. I cannot wait to meet you.
All right, that's it.
Good video.
What do you think?
Yeah, that was a great video. So now we're gonna have a conversation about it.
Yeah. What did you like about it? What was most interesting to you? Like, what stuck out? Because you're watching this literally for the first time. By the way, Dan's background, not in real estate, but he is been a pastor. He's been a mentor. He's been a friend. He's also been in sales though. And I think the communication and your skill set, the ability to lead and develop people, which you'll quickly learn. eXp, it's not just about sharing the model. It's about building a business and building a team. And I don't know if there's anyone better at doing that than you, Dan. Right?
I appreciate that.
And the model is just the real estate aspect of it, right? And the result is for people, right? That's the sale. But if you collectively take that and build, so what did you most like about it? Like, what stuck out? Like, wow, that's really cool.
Well, I mean, I'm not a real estate agent or a broker. That was one of my first questions. Do I have to already be an agent or a broker? Does commercial or residential matter? That's my first question. But what stood out to me most is, I've sold quite a few homes of my own personal homes through an agent. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of know how the system works when you got your broker that's, you're hanging your license under, and then you're, sharing the profits and everything like that. So, his stock comments and the revenue sharing with the 7-tier cascading revenue share, that was very interesting to me. And it kind of goes back to what you're talking about, building a team and making sure that you're compensated for connecting people with your organization. And he's right. It's not just real estate. A lot of times, if you're successful at something and you're passionate about it, people are attracted to that, and you bring them in, and someone else is reaping the benefits of it. So I actually found that to be very, very interesting. And he basically said it allowed him to retire from selling real estate, which I thought was interesting, because it's like your real estate now moved you into more of a team builder than actually doing the ins and outs of actual real estate. Now you're building a team, and you're inspiring, and you're training, and you're creating new dreams for people that maybe feel that they don't have an exit strategy, or they're, on the hamster wheel and they're spinning it day in and day out, and don't really see an end to that work cycle. And so I found that very intriguing.
Yeah, that aspect there is really interesting, right? Because most of us are just trading our time for dollars, or doing the transaction, and we're building it's the rich dad, poor dad. You're building someone else's dream, right? And there's this quadrant, it's called cash flow quadrant, and you're either an employee, self-employed, business owner, or investor, right? And the whole idea is, how do you get on the, he grew up, Robert Kiyosaki, he had a rich dad, and his rich dad was actually his friend's dad that he spent a lot of time with, his best friend's dad. And then his real dad was his dad, who was, high in education and government job, and like very, very just employee mindset, put away for your 401k. And he basically contrasted their view about building wealth. And essentially, you're either, again, building someone else's dream, or you're going to the right side of the quadrant, which is becoming a business owner and an investor. And that helps to build wealth for your family, right? Recurring income, as well as selling real estate. But you're exactly right. Eventually, you want to be the owner of something, right? Or have investments. And that's what can eliminate having to have, and those investments pay you cash flow. In fact, I just bought the game for my daughters, and my wife and I were playing it. It's Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game. And it's basically, there's the rat races in the middle. It's like Monopoly, but like a whole nother way to look at it. And it's like, how do you get your passive income to replace your expenses? And that's when you've unlocked another level, an opportunity to either give more, travel more. And most positions and most jobs, the top, let's say 10 or 20% of the wealth, they have a lot of people working for them to build their dreams. So Keller Williams, even Marcus and Millichap, or Colliers, or all of these guys, they have the employees building their billions. And what eXp did is they flipped the model, and they said, we're going to make the agents the owners. We're going to cut out all the middlemen, because typically what's set up, Dan, you have like international, you have like regions, then you have franchisees or owners, and then you have the agent. And what eXp did say, we're going to keep the international, the big corporate, but we're going to eliminate all the middlemen, and we're going to take the revenue off the top, and we're going to share it with those that are actually producing and selling the houses, or building the teams that sell the houses. And we're going to incentivize them to be a part of an ownership structure. And so once that clicks, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, why would I do it otherwise? Plus, there's no huge franchise fees. There's no debt you have to go in. There's no like huge overhead. It's like, show up, you pay the $150, you pay the monthly, and you start selling real estate, and you help build the team to sell real estate. Now, answer your question real fast. Yeah, you need to be licensed.
Let me ask you another question first.
Sure.
That's you just jogged my mind on. So, you've got the risk and reward of a dream. Mm-hmm. And I like what he said. He said, you can't have a dream come true without a dream. And so if you've been in real estate for years and years, this is a dream. The idea that you can own part of the company, and you can get people under you and get paid year after year after year, build up residual income. Normally, a dream like that comes with a risk reward. Mm-hmm. Do you feel the timing right now, because there's enough runway behind you that he said the gravel's been laid out and now it's paved? Do you feel that now when people jump in, the risk has been mitigated to where now the teeter-totter's kind of gone from risk reward? It's almost all reward. He brought up cloud-based sector businesses, comparing eXp to Hilton or something like that, or Blockbuster, with Netflix, or Airbnb. Now he brought up a lot of different places that changed the entire industry. Do you feel like eXp is in that place now where for people that jump in, they can pursue that dream, but the risk reward has really been shifted towards primarily reward?
100%.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, 100%. Because when it was started, like any startup, it's always going to have bumps, and you're going to have growing pains, and you're going to have just with any new systems, new processes breaking into the industry. So, 12 years ago is when it launched, and people would go over and be like, "This is a mess. Like, I can't get the onboarding, or you don't have the service, and like things. The technology was still working out some of its kinks." And so, yeah, what he's saying is they've been through all of that now, so the timing couldn't be better on that. So yes, and then the second part is, you're absolutely right on the risk part, right? Because most things, like if you think about it, like for example, in commercial real estate, I'm a commercial real estate broker and a capital gains tax business founder, and we help people do, basically exit risk planning and tax mitigation or deferral in order to help them achieve whatever they want to achieve, right? But basically, if you have to own a property, and there's some rough numbers here, the average person needs to have $900,000 in their 401k. That's after tax at 4%. That'll produce $36,000 a year and or $3,000 a month, right? So the question becomes, and this is if you could live on $3,000 a month, right? What would it take for any of us in our 401ks to get to $900,000? That's net of taxes. So we live in California. You're moving over to I'm moving too for a number of reasons, but it'd probably take me in California, and I have to earn somewhere around, let's call it 1.3 million, maybe or so, right? 1.4 to net about 900. And that's if I could put all of that towards investments. Then and at 4%, which is the financial advisor national, if you need to live off this for the next 20 years, that's their number they use, that we conservatively feel like you can take distributions from. You don't no longer have to, add to it. You can live off of it. That equals $36,000 a year or $3,000. Now, if you reverse that and say, well, what would it take me to own a commercial real estate building doing that, right? And what's the risk, time and energy, liability, insurance, time and effort, and all of this that goes into that? These ratios are really phenomenal, right? Because for the longest time, real estate agents have made these commissions and they've been paying these brokers. And you say, okay, well, if it takes 10 agents who each get 10 people, you saw that. He said it's about, I think it's about $370,000 in recurring revenue. That's, if you take that divided by 36, 370,000, 36,000. That's basically 10 times what 900,000 times 10 would be, right? If that makes sense, at 4%. I think I did the math correctly on that. And that's the phenomenal thing, right? Because you don't have to go buy the real estate. You don't have to take on all the risk and all the improvements and all the blood, sweat, and tears to build either this business or this real estate. Now, there will be blood, sweat, and tears on building the real estate side of things, but it's virtual, right? It's human to human. It's leadership, it's training, it's sales. It's not having to take a big time investment into a building that could be foreclosed on, that have to refinance the interest rates, that, deal with that. And that's the thing, because at Marcus and Millichap, Dan, we always wanted to get on the other side of the phone. It was, hey, how do I call somebody, help serve them enough to sell their property, but how do I also learn from them so that I can own property someday to pay me the cash flow, right? And that's the point. Well, now what we're doing here is we're doing the same thing for real estate agents and brokers, except you don't have to own a bunch of real estate to do it, right? And especially when real estate's at all-time highs and it's super competitive, we just take the model we already know, and even someone from the outside who's great with people and leadership. And here's the cool thing: when you have these sponsors, and Brent's he's part of my sponsorship team. He's up there, and I have others that have built these organizations over time. We all support and encourage one another. Here's probably the coolest thing. Is most people, when they get hired, they have a direct manager or mentor. And you might have one other person that's vested into you, right? But that's about as far as it goes. With eXp, because they have the seven tier system, you essentially bring in 7 support people to help you build the business. Because why? Because we get contribution for that, right? We get cash flow from that. And that's what created the difference for me, because I looked at this and I go, yeah, here's risk versus reward. I can keep doing what I'm doing all by myself, and I can still sell real estate and sell Deferred Sales Trust, or I can combine with the team that'll support me on the real estate and building this, and help me with the Deferred Sales Trust business. And it became a no-brainer. So this is synergy. I'm going to help agents. They're going to help me. So I know that's kind of a long-winded answer, but that's a good question.
Yeah. So back to the original question. I'm sure a lot of the real estate agents that are watching this are like, okay, I've already heard about this because I'm not in real estate, but I'm in ministry and I know a million people. And I have a lot of friends where they send me an email and it used to be, you know, Remax, Caldwell Banker, Century 21, whatever. And now it's like, I see eXp over and you had told me about it a while ago. So you know, it's kind of like that thing where you buy a certain car and you've never seen it on the road. And now that you have it, you see it everywhere. Well, I've been seeing eXp that way all over. So those are insiders. They're probably already familiar with a lot of this. For someone like me, what would you say if someone said, do I already have to be an agent or a broker in real estate to get involved with something like this?
So you do need to get licensed. That is important to understand. Like, you need to get a real estate license, which is really simple. You take a crash course over a weekend, and literally if we took a crash course for 2 days, Dan, you'd pass it on Tuesday. Like, it's absurd. So don't even worry about getting licensed. It's simple. You take some few online courses, and it's very, very simple. Okay. You get licensed. So yeah, you do need to get licensed, but you can sign up as it's like an LOI. Basically, it means you're going to be in the process of getting licensed. And as an LOI, you can bring people, you can start recruiting and bringing people out immediately to start building that up. And then once you get licensed, it goes live. So you can, so the answer is you can do both, but yeah, you will need to officially get licensed to be a part of it and maintain a license. Yes.
So explain to me, like, if there's any impact that comes from pursuing commercial or residential as an agent. Like, just put yourself in my shoes and say, hey, here's someone who, you know, knows a lot of real estate agents, familiar with real estate, but hasn't been in that space themselves. They're making a decision coming in. Where would you come in? Would you come in on the commercial side or on the residential side?
So, in your shoes, I might lean towards residential because literally of your amazing relationships you've built for all of these years and all the people you've served selflessly and just, you know, given to. Like, I would imagine if somebody's relocating from California to, let's say, a place like Texas, and you might be there and all of a sudden they know, like, I mean, I'm going there, you're representing me, right? And it's just a no brainer. So to me, that would be really simple. And then by the way, to that front, you can build a little team, right? And you don't have to necessarily be doing all of these things. The team can be doing that, and you're the relationship, and you also the negotiation. So I think your strength would be relationship and negotiation, right? Like, no one's going to beat you on that. And then you have the team members doing all of the blocking and tackling, the open houses, the pictures, all the video stuff, all the social media marketing, like that. And that's the beauty of what our team has done. Like, we've, with the YouTube and we have the number one Keller Williams agent in the world 7 different times. His name is Tom. He's amazing. And he's a part of the team. And we have the masterminds and the training. And so it's like you're plugging into the Amazon of selling. Imagine you've been selling real estate by yourself. Now you're plugging into the Amazon platform, if you will, right? And you're working with us to build this organization, but we're all got the ownership in. So I would actually lean towards residential, and I would lean towards recruiting. And I wouldn't say that for most people, but for you, because of your skill set and your relationships and your negotiation and the way you can lead and build people, that is, to me, the most important thing for joining whoever you're joining. Because it's one thing to see a thing, right, and be introduced, but how are you gonna bring me something that's going to help me become, our leadership lid is here, and that's where we stop. And but unless we have other leaders that help us and mentor us and build us up, do we come to the next level? So for someone like yourself, you're going to build leaders. You're masterful building leaders. That's one of your number one gifts. And so you're going to find the agent who's selling the 10 homes a year, who's looking to level up on their leadership and everything else, right? And that's the number one person to help recruit and build up. And you're going to add value there. But there's literally full-time recruiters and leadership trainers. That's all they do. So think of yourself like a real estate coach, right? About negotiation, but it's more like psychology and relationships and connection. Like, that's universal. Real estate just happens to be the thing you sell. So don't put eXp in a box and be like, well, I haven't been selling real estate for 20 years. Who cares? We could work with a transaction coordinator and negotiations, and we can teach you that in 3 to 6 months. And then you're going to be better than 90% of the agents out there anyways, right? So don't put it in a box. Think of it like leadership and business building, and then eXp as the platform and the houses as the sale. But if you want to do it to commercial, you can also still do commercial sales. You could do commercial sales. Commercials is definitely a 2-year grind into cold calling and getting that. And I went through that Marcus Amilla chap. You can do it if you feel really passionate about that. But I don't. That's part of why I'm at the Deferred Sales Trust business too. I still do some commercial real estate business, and I still recruit for eXp, but I'm in Deferred Sales Trust business because it pays recurring revenues.
Right. So I want to, like, my main questions or what I want to discuss are the 4 pillars of eXp, because I think those are very interesting. Before we run through those, he
Yeah.
addressed first the office space issue about the
Yeah.
Regis Alliance
Regis.
offices, or Regis, however you pronounce it.
Yeah.
How does that work? I mean, I know, all the agents I know, they're normally, connected to some sort of company and they have offices and they're paying for that. How does the Regis Alliance?
So I have a local office here, just 3 minutes in Roseville, and it's a Regis office, and there's like probably 20 eXp agents there. So you show up, and they all have their individual offices they've leased out. I pay like $400 a month. Some people pay like $1,000 or $1,500 a month, depending on the office. Your eXp membership, if you will, if you think of it like that, gets you access to like the Wi-Fi and the general area. If you want to go buy or rent an office yourself, you can. And so some people have that office and use it as kind of like the hub to meet people at. And then if they want to work from that office, they pay that themselves. But your general membership just gives you access to like the lounge area, if you will, right? So, but most people will just buy the office. Now, if you have a house that's big enough, people working from home anyways, so that's their office. But if they want to go meet the client, they take the client to the Regis office. And the Regis are across the country, right? So that Regis membership gets you access to the lounge anywhere you go.
Okay, interesting. That helped a lot, because I was kind of wondering how that worked. And so the membership that he said was included gets you into the lobby, gets you into the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But if you want to actually work out of there, there's additional costs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's get to the 4 pillars, because to me that's the biggest gains for joining eXp. And he kind of spent a lot on the stocks and the revenue share. That was a lot of time, but the first 2 were leads and training. So how does the lead generation work? What does that look like?
Yeah, good question. So the main system for eXp Residential is what's called KB Core, and it's like the best of the best for a CRM and landing pages and automatic texts, automatic emails. Leads come in, and then they get email sequences, and so like they have like trainers and coaches that will set it all up for you. And then as people come into your landing page, they get on a drip system, right? They get on a drip text message system. And so that's like the basic, and that's amazing. Like that by itself, typically I think costs $600 to $800 a month alone. Like if you were to go out on your own, $600 to $800 a month, right? It's included in the $85. So that's the CRM. Does that make sense on KB Core?
Yeah. So I guess are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, you're talking about the lead. And maybe the answer to the leads part. The leads part would be you can buy ads or you can. I haven't really bought ads. Most of it's come from referrals, and then those referrals send referrals, right? So and then there are like services you can buy that can feed like potential leads. So depending on where you're at, but most. I mean, I don't think I've ever actually bought an ad for any real estate stuff. I'd always called to get referrals. But there are like systems you can plug into that provide leads, and then that leads go into that system, and they send them automatic, and then you make calls and talk to people. Yeah. Yeah,
I think the main reason I asked that is because of the move. And so if I was staying in the Sacramento area, basically you have relationships over your entire life. And I'm a very relational person. You just put out like, hey, I'm into this. And now you're connected to all kinds of people there. But when you go to a new place, now you're like, okay, now my network has shifted, and it's going to take time to build that back up. And so,
however, here's the point here. So we already have the boots on the ground here in Sacramento. And so you can still build your business in Sacramento, but the people who would sell it, you would just get a referral from. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you had a friend, you're like, hey, I'm in real estate now. We have a team. And this is the beauty of this. And these are our business partners. They are our team, our business partners, right? We have the top team, over 10,000 transactions in the Sacramento area that I'm a part of. And that's how you say these are our business partners. And how it would work is you would get a referral fee, right? And they would pay like typically like 25% of the list side. They do all the work, everything else, right? And you'd get that referral fee to you. So that's fine. You don't necessarily have to be there selling. And by the way, and then when you're in Texas, right, you're going to build that up naturally. And there's going to be people who are doing both, right? Transitioning. And so that's how that would work. You would just refer it out to that particular area. And that agent on the ground would, we have a thing called eXp Workplace on Facebook. And it's like a site where you could literally go into and it's 80,000 agents now. By the way, he said 63, it's up to 83,000 now. Okay.
Gosh,
So yeah.
that doesn't surprise me from all the people I've seen already.
Yeah. And so you would refer it out. You'd either do it yourself or you build a team to do it. Right. So either way, you get paid somehow, some way.
So, okay. So that makes sense for the lead. So training, what does a live training look like? So you mentioned recorded trainings and live trainings. What does that look like?
Yeah, so there's a thing called eXp World, and eXp World is sort of like, you ever play the show or the game Sims?
Yeah.
Game? Yeah. And so I'm actually going to load it up here in a second. But what's really cool about eXp World, and by the way, eXp is more than just a residential and commercial. They also have what's called Verbella, and Verbella is like cutting edge technology for virtual campuses. I mean, they have universities doing this, huge corporations doing this. And that's part of what was foundational, because Glenn was a tech guy, tech genius who went, or tech expert, let's just put it that way, to real estate. And he combined the two to become who he, everything he provides. And so inside of the world, you have an avatar and you cruise around into the different places. There's accounting, there's marketing center, there's, training places. And it's just a virtual campus that connects people versus having to call on the phone. And versus having to just email, although you can call on the phone and you can email and you can, but most of it, it's great because you can go in and it's the gap between in person and not being in person, right? It's in the middle, but I'd even say it's probably even better once you get used to it, because it's like, if you're ever in the office, I remember being in the office of Marcus and Millichap, and it would be, you wouldn't know if you're bothering someone too much, is the way to put it. And so, in this scenario, I'm cruising around and I'm like, hey, let's go to accounting, and they're closed today. It's Sunday, right? But here's like a main auditorium. It'd be like for a training place. And you can see people if they're talking to somebody else, so you're not being in, or they're in or they're not in, right? So here's like some training, and then you can go. Let me see if I can put this in here. I gotta be able to jump here. It's actually kind of fun once you get used to this thing.
You got to keep your kids away from this, Brett.
Yeah. So
they'll build your whole business. They're savants.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay, I can run here. See, I'm running. So, and I can get on. If I was speaking, I'd be on stage, and there's literally thousands of people in here, right? At times, we're speaking at, or if I'm watching a training, I'm sitting right here. And so it's great because it's so efficient, I guess is the best way to put it. They have more brokers to serve more agents because it's virtual, it's in the cloud, and there's more money to pay them because of the way they've done everything. So I can just tell you the service is top notch. You can go in for live training. There's also Zoom trainings as well. There's the masterminds we do every single week. So as much training as you want, it's here.
Great. And then the stock, the equity opportunities.
Yeah.
You mentioned there's a 3-year vesting period. Explain that a little bit.
So basically, when you get the stock in their side of it, they don't want you selling it off immediately, right? That's not good for the stock, especially if you're buying at a 10% discount. So for them to make it make sense, they also want to encourage you to stay at eXp. So by staying at eXp, and as well as even if you left eXp, as long as you didn't sell the stock, it's eligible to maintain the 10% discount. So basically, if you had to sell the stock, but I think what happened is you'd have to pay back the 10% discount, right? But it fully vests within 3 years, and they're betting that the stock's going to go higher, obviously, right? And it's going to encourage you to do more deals. So it's just that every company does this. So Apple and the Googles, they all do the same thing. It's trying to make a balance between the two. So that they can give you at a discount and they can encourage you to stay with them.
Yeah, and I think you'd want to hold anyway at this point, even though joining NASDAQ probably, it probably shot up quickly when they got to that point. But, obviously the company is still at the forefront of growth. There's so many countries still to get into. He was showing the map. And, in our area, it's kind of exploded, but I'm sure there's a lot of areas across the country where people are just finding out about it. So if you were to get it, you would want to hold it for well over 3 years anyway.
Absolutely. I just closed a huge check and then I got the 10% discount automatically set up. So I'm on the stock program. I mean, and and once you see it, and then we're going to the Dallas eXp event, here coming up in a couple of days. and you start to see all the people and the leadership and all of that, then it connects. You're like, okay, they got the model, they got the finances, they got the leadership, and there's no way the stock doesn't go up. We're also, I think, number one in transaction volume now too. Because the other thing that some people go is, oh, you guys are just a recruiting company or an MLM company or whatever. That's kind of a big thing. People say, well, no, we actually sell more real estate than like anyone else. Like we're selling and we're crushing in our because we bring the most entrepreneurial, like out of the box thinkers are like, no, and those are the typically ones that grow everything, right? So that's also part of the potholes too. Like a lot of people were skeptical, especially the big players. They were skeptical in the beginning, but as this whole thing has shifted and there's a whole like cycle of like early adopters versus, like late adopters and all this thing. And we're just in that second phase. If you ever seen those graphs, right?
It's exciting.
Yeah.
So, okay. So onto the fourth pillar, because I'm taking up all your time here, but I wanted to walk through all those four pillars. I think they're significant. So number one, leads; two, training; three, the stocks. And then the fourth is the revenue share, the 7-tier cascading revenue share, which is very interesting. Due to time, I'm sure he only went through the first 2 tiers.
Right.
So the first tier is, you get 10 agents that cap, and then each of those 10 get 10. That was the second one that he talked where you're getting, he's getting the giant figure over the course of the year. Right. What's 3 through 7 look like?
It just gets better and better and better. And I don't want to.
I wanted him to keep going because I don't plan on stopping at 2. If I'm going to do it, I plan on going to 7 because you know me.
You know me too. Yeah, that's how I'm wired too, right? It's literally like, so in 2 days you're going to have a chance to meet him in person, right? And then I won't speak for him because it's not my spot to speak for him, right? But we'll talk and it's like nothing you've ever seen before. And that's the part where he doesn't even want to share it because it's not even a point about that, right? Like the point is like, we're going to make a difference in people's lives. And if we can just help you get 10 and help those 10 to get 10, that's it. You're good. And it's like, you don't have to do anything else, Dan. And we can do that in 6 months. We can do that in 12 months. Right. And you know how passionate I am about capital gains tax, which is in the Deferred Sales Trust. Like that is my focus. That's I'm just like 100. Let's say I'm 95% there now, right? And eXp, I told him, I said, if I joined you guys, I'm not recruiting. I told him, number one, I said, number two, I'm 100% capital gains tax solutions, and I'll sell a little bit of commercial real estate, but this is what I'm doing. Like, isn't that going to conflict? And they're like, no, Brett, like just sell real estate when you sell it, because you're going to still sell some, and share the model if you want to, but you don't have to recruit. You don't have to do that. In fact, there's only about, I think it's only like 15 to 20% of people actually recruit that are at the eXp. This is actually a funny number, right? You would think like more people would do this.
Yeah, completely. A
lot of people, they're not wired like us. When they see it and they go, okay, so if I recruit 10 people and train and coach them to sell real estate and help them whatever they're trying to do, and I help those 10 get 10, you're telling me that's $370,000 recurring for the rest of my life, and I can pass it on to my kids, and my kids can keep it going too. Like, so one of the kids would have to get licensed. That's one little thing you have to think about. And it can just keep going. And so, yes, so it can quickly become even more wealth. But the big thing is
why is that though? That's shocking to me that that's the case, because I'm thinking, oh, that's better than just continuing selling. Is it because of the 80-20 split? And then at that certain level, it goes 100% to you that people say, that's my space. That's where I'm staying. Like, why?
Here's the reality, Dan. 5% of the people are entrepreneurial, like, certain mindsets, right? 95% of the people are more like employee mindsets. And so that 5% are the Steve Jobs, are the, Elon Musk, but even like, us on smaller levels, like we're still part of that 5% of the internal belief, the internal drive, that passion, like leading people. We've been given that gift. Most people are just like, I'll tell a friend or this or that, and they're just focused and they're happy with that. And it's just, so like it's just like more opportunity for us to go help more people. I just try not to even think about that. I just go like, all right, I'm going to help 10 people get 10, and then we'll go from there. And I don't even focus on the layers, 3 through 7. I'm just like, help 10 to get 10.
I'm very interested in that coming from a ministry background, because most people don't realize, but when you have that internal drive and you grow your ministry, you grow the amount of work, but you don't grow any other sort of material part. You take time from your family, you have more people you have to pour into, more expectations on you, but there's actually no material benefit for a ministry person who drives to reach more people. And so, seeing that tiered system and going, wow, you're helping people, but you're also helping your family. You're helping, the legacy for your kids and their kids. And so for me, I just find that very interesting, and hearing that a lot of people don't pursue that route, that is very interesting to me.
Yeah. And the other thing too, is you're not alone. So again, back to that whole thing of, you might have someone who's ahead of you, like let's say it's a senior pastor, or you might have someone who's associate pastor who's supporting you. And this scenario, although a lot of people think of it as a ministry, I think of a ministry too, right? It's a ministry, it's a calling, it's a mission. And in fact, there's a lot of believers in eXp, and as a way to give back and bless ministries with the wealth, right, that we've been earning and help other people. But the point is, you have 7 people that are vested directly, because materially, like you just said, they're getting blessed, right? They're getting paid. And so, and we have some of on our team, again, we have the number 1 in Keller Williams 7 different times in the world. He's closed over 7,000 transactions personally. We have the fastest growing Keller Williams office in the history, manager who built Roseville office from 10 to 184 agents. He's opened up 10 offices. He's on the team. We have another gentleman who's closed over 500 homes. His parents were like top at Coldwell Banker. We have me, who does commercial real estate as well, right? And then Deferred Sales Trust, and then YouTube and podcasting. And so basically, we try to get all of the gifts. We have Brent Gove, he's on the team too. We have a guy named Randy Bird, who coached for Tom Ferry, which is one of the number 1 coaches. And basically, we just say, hey, Dan, as fast as you want to move or as slow as you want to move. Like, there's no and even then I told him, like, I'm not showing up to the meetings. I told him all this. I'm not going to recruit anybody. And they're like, fine, Brett. And I'm like, and I looked and I showed up the meetings and listening to him, and like, wait, these guys are teaching about coaching and leadership and training and selling real estate. It's not just about recruiting people. It's actually changing people's lives. I'm like, if these world-class leaders and gentlemen are doing this, maybe I've been missing something. Let me give it a shot. I told him I'll try it for a year. And literally every single month, it just got better and better and better. Then I would go to the events, and then I'd meet the people. I'm like, wait, this is world changing. This is Amazon, 15 years ago or whatever. This is Airbnb. This is Netflix. Like, this is going to change it forever. And it's an amazing opportunity to be on the front end of it and to be a blessing to others at the same time.
Hey, that's what life's all about. So you definitely gave me a lot to think about. And so I'm not going to move forward. I got plenty of information to chew on, but I do just want to say, it's what really stood out to me about the presentation is, without a dream, you can't have a dream come true. So I think a lot of people need to hear that, to get out of their comfort zone. And that comfort zone often is holding us back. That's the place that we're safe. And when you get out of your comfort zone, that's what creates the space for God to show up in your life. It gets you out of the situation that you naturally want to be in, where you have the power to control your life. And it gets you to another place where you say, this is now bigger than me. And it creates a lot of space for God to show up and do something incredible in your life. And so thank you for the information. Thanks for caring enough about me to share it with me. Really appreciate that. A lot of people just hold the great news in, but this is some great news. I appreciate you taking the time to share it with me. Not even in the real estate space, but I appreciate your time, Brett.
Dan, amen, brother. I love you. And anyone watching this, you want to get in touch with Dan or me, you can literally call my office, 916-886-2986. You can go to brett@capitalgainstaxsolutions.com, email me, or go to there. And then Dan and I would be happy to work with you. We don't even know if Dan's going to join yet. We'll see. But I'm in it.
I will build a ministry team. So if you're looking to join ministry, I'll plug you into.
Yeah, and maybe it's a little bit of both. Who knows? Who knows where this combination is going to go? Right? Keep eXp like it's open source with what it is. So hey, thanks everyone for watching. Appreciate you out there, and we'll talk to everyone.